Black people have, been fighting for their rights since the days of Marcus Garvey, Steve Biko in South Africa, and we are here at another juncture in history where we're seeing that we have to continuously fight for our rights. Good morning, citizens of the world, to those people tuning in from across America, and a good afternoon to those of you tuning in with me from South Africa and across the world. Now, we have a special town hall meeting today, and we're joined by a very special panel. And this has been possible because of the partnership between Advertising Week, the Mandela Institute of Humanity, as well as the National Urban League. Now, we are joined by our Honorable Mayor Keisha Lance Bottoms, Mayor of Atlanta. Unfortunately, she has a tight schedule and will not be able to continue with us for much longer. So we will focus on Mayor. Mayor, thank you for making the time to join us this morning.
Thank you for having me. It is such an honor to speak with you today. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mayor. Now, I can imagine the atmosphere in America must be so tense and electrifying. I mean, can you just give us, a picture of what's happening and what you're having to deal with in America right now? Those of us who are not in America.
It's such a range of emotions because I think what's very clear to all of us is that we are in the midst of a transformational movement in this country, and I think that it's important not to lose sight of what this movement is all about. We witnessed this horrific murder of George Floyd, and we saw the murder of Ahmaud Arbery, and we've been talking about the murder of Breonna Taylor and so many other names that can be called. But in my lifetime, at least, I've not seen anything like this in America. We know the rich legacy of the civil rights movement, but I think it's so very clear to so many people there is this collective range of emotions that we are experiencing, from grief to anger to frustration to really just a push for change in this country. And we see it happening already.
That is, it's definitely a tough time. And now, Black people have, been fighting for their rights since the days of Marcus Garvey, Steve Biko in South Africa, and we are here at another juncture in history where we're seeing that we have to continuously fight for our rights. What do you have to say for generally progression of Black people and how this it has actually perpetrated the globe, and you've seen movements across different countries around the world?
So, this is again, it's interesting looking at this through various lenses. One lens I'm looking at it through is through the lens of my mother, who was a college student during the civil rights movement. And what she said to me recently was, this America doesn't feel like 1965. It feels like something before 1965. This is before we started seeing the demonstrations. And I think that really that spoke to the state of our country, that for all of the steps we've taken forward, for so many people it feels like we've taken so many steps back. But what I would say is, and I quote Audre Lorde a lot, revolution is not a one-time event. And we know that whether it's a civil rights movement in America or the push to end apartheid in South Africa, that it was a series of events and a series of organized and intentional acts that made change lasting. And I think that this moment in time, what we're seeing with the demonstrations on our streets, this is a part of that series of acts. But I think that it's taken us so much closer, because even as we had elections in the state of Georgia yesterday, for as unorganized and frustrating as it was, what was not lost on me was that people were showing up to vote, and they were willing to stand in line for 6 to 8 hours to exercise their right to vote. And I think that's what we will see going into November, because we know that leadership matters, and it's going to be important that we restore moral leadership in the highest office in America.
Don't forget to subscribe to the Expeditiously podcast right now, Apple Podcasts and Spotify.